Aging signs our brains whisper? 10 warnings you can't ignore. Imagine this. You're chatting with your lifelong friend. And halfway through, they pause, then repeat the same sentence they just said 2 minutes ago. You might smile politely, but deep down, something doesn't feel right. It starts small, misplacing keys, forgetting appointments, feeling a little more tired and withdrawn. Here's the truth. Over 55 million people worldwide are living with dementia. And many of them didn't notice the warning signs until it was too late. Dementia doesn't just happen when we get old. It often whispers for years before it roars. And those whispers are exactly what we need to pay attention to. Now, I know, growing older brings changes, but not all changes are harmless. Some are red flags, quietly signaling that the brain may be in trouble. The good news? If we can spot these signs early, we have a real chance to slow things down, to protect our memories, our independence, and the life we still want to live. In this article, I'll gently walk with you through 10 early signs of dementia that you should never brush off. And I'll show you how science and simple changes can help you stay sharp, steady, and self-reliant for years to come. Some of these signs might surprise you. Others might hit close to home. But I promise you this, by the end of this, you'll be better prepared, not just for yourself, but for your loved ones too. Let's start with something that shows up not in your words, but in the way you walk. 1. Subtle shifts in movement. You might think your posture or the way you walk is just wear and tear from getting older. But what if it's not? What if it's your brain trying to send you a message? One of the earliest, but most overlooked, signs of dementia is a subtle shift in how you move. You may start walking with smaller, shuffling steps. Your feet may drag, or you notice you're leaning slightly to one side without realizing it. These aren't just muscle problems. They often stem from changes in the frontal lobe and cerebellum, the parts of the brain responsible for coordination and motor control. A 2022 study published in Neurology followed over 17,000 seniors and found that those with slower walking speeds and poorer balance had a significantly higher risk of developing dementia within just 7 years. That means your legs could be giving you a glimpse into your brain's future. And it's not just walking. Struggling to use utensils, hold a cup steady, or stand up straight from a chair can also reflect early brain decline. These are changes we tend to ignore or chalk up to aging. But they matter. 2. Reduced depth and space perception. While your feet may start dragging, something even more subtle might go unnoticed: your ability to sense depth and space. You're pouring a glass of water and it spills everywhere. You misjudge the distance to the table, bump into a doorway, or feel uneasy going downstairs you've walked 1,000 times before. These little mishaps, they might be signs your brain isn't processing space and depth the way it used to. Dementia can quietly alter spatial awareness and sensory perception, especially in the early stages. This includes how you judge distance, depth, and even how you detect smells. Studies from the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease show that olfactory loss, meaning a reduced ability to smell, is often one of the first neurological changes in Alzheimer's, even before memory fades. One test even revealed that seniors who couldn't identify 10 common smells were 5 times more likely to develop dementia within 5 years. You may also find yourself overwhelmed by background noise. Conversations become harder to follow in crowded rooms. That's not just hearing loss. According to a 2021 study from Lancet, untreated hearing difficulties in midlife are linked to an 8% higher risk of dementia due to increased cognitive load. When your senses start slipping, your confidence in everyday tasks does too. 3. Decreased physical strength. Even more telling than sensory confusion is what's happening to your physical strength. Let me ask you something simple. When was the last time opening a jar felt like a real challenge? Or carrying groceries felt heavier than it used to? We often blame weakness on age. But there's more to the story. Especially when it's your grip strength that's fading. Your hands can tell you a lot about your brain. A major 2019 study published in BMJ tracked over 160,000 older adults and found that weaker grip strength was directly linked to a higher risk of cognitive decline and dementia. In fact, Every 5 kilograms decrease in strength was associated with a 16% increased risk of developing dementia. Why? Because your muscles and your mind are deeply connected through your nervous system. And when one starts to weaken, the other often follows. But it doesn't stop at grip. You may notice general frailty, getting tired faster, struggling to lift everyday objects, or avoiding movement altogether. And here's the catch: the less you move, the faster your cognitive health can slide. Physical inactivity shrinks your brain. Quite literally. That's why researchers at the University of Edinburgh now say that muscle strength is one of the strongest protective factors against dementia. 4. Sleep disturbances. If the body slows down during the day, what happens at night can be an even earlier warning. You close your eyes at 10 and wake up at 1, 3, 4:30. Sound familiar? Maybe you're tossing, turning, or even shouting in your sleep. Poor sleep isn't just exhausting. It may be one of the brain's first cries for help. Research from JAMA Neurology found that people who experience frequent sleep disturbances, especially REM sleep behavior disorder, are at significantly higher risk of developing dementia, including Lewy body dementia. These aren't just bad dreams. They involve kicking, punching, talking while asleep, and even acting out nightmares, long before memory loss shows up. And it goes further. If you suddenly need frequent daytime naps, or you find yourself wide awake at 3 a.m. for no reason, your circadian rhythm may be breaking down. That's the brain's internal clock. And when it starts misfiring, cognitive decline may not be far behind. What's more, poor sleep prevents the brain from clearing out toxic proteins like beta amyloid, which are directly linked to Alzheimer's. According to the National Institute on Aging, deep sleep is when the brain performs its cleanup duties. Without it, waste builds up, damaging neurons. So if your nights feel restless, don't shrug it off. It might not just be age. It might be a signal. 5. Apathy, emotional numbness. And the next sign isn't what happens while you're asleep. It's what happens when you stop caring altogether. You used to love gardening. You never missed a Sunday lunch with the family. But now, you just don't feel like it. You cancel plans. You stop answering the phone. It's not sadness. It's something emptier. That quiet detachment? It could be one of dementia's earliest emotional fingerprints. This kind of emotional numbness is called apathy. And it's very different from depression. According to a 2020 study in Neurology, apathy is a strong predictor of cognitive decline, especially in Alzheimer's patients. People with early-stage dementia often show less interest in things they used to enjoy. Not because they're sad, but because their motivation circuits in the brain are breaking down. You might notice less emotional reaction, smiling less, not tearing up during a touching moment, or seeming distant even in a room full of family. Tasks you once did without thinking, like cooking your favorite dish or joining a chat, suddenly feel like too much work. And over time, this emotional withdrawal creates isolation, which only speeds up cognitive decline. Loved ones often mistake it for mood swings or normal aging. But this quiet slipping away from life is a red flag. 6. Language difficulties, aphasia. And when that emotional detachment is joined by trouble finding the right words, you may be seeing a pattern that points to something deeper. You're in the middle of a conversation, and suddenly, the word you're looking for just vanishes. You know what you want to say. It's right there on the tip of your tongue, but it won't come out. Or worse, you say that thing instead of the real word. If this starts happening often, it's more than just senior moments. It could be aphasia, one of dementia's clearest early signs. Aphasia shows up in subtle ways: long pauses mid-sentence, mixing up words, or repeating the same phrases without realizing it. You might call a spoon a fork, or refer to your daughter as that girl. According to research from the Mayo Clinic, language problems often appear years before a diagnosis of Alzheimer's is made, especially in people with what's called primary progressive aphasia, a dementia subtype that affects speech first. Over time, even following a simple conversation becomes hard, especially in noisy environments. You might lose the thread, forget what you were saying, or stop talking altogether out of frustration or embarrassment. And sadly, this breakdown in communication can lead to isolation and even misdiagnosis. So if your words start to fade, Pay close attention, because memory isn't the only thing dementia takes. 7. Memory loss affecting daily life. And now, it's time to look at the signs that often seem normal but shouldn't be ignored. We all forget things sometimes. A name slips your mind. Or you walk into a room and can't remember why. That's human. But when forgetfulness starts interfering with your day-to-day life, it's time to take it seriously. Dementia-related memory loss isn't about forgetting where you left your keys once in a while. It's when you can't retrace your steps to find them. Or worse, you forget you even lost them. People may repeat the same story multiple times without realizing. Miss appointments even after being reminded. Or forget recent conversations altogether. The Alzheimer's Association reports that short-term memory loss is one of the most common early signs of Alzheimer's disease. And it's different from age-related forgetfulness. In the early stages, long-term memories may still be intact, but new information doesn't stick. This can be frustrating and frightening for both the person experiencing it and their loved ones. You may also see signs like leaving the stove on, misplacing money, or forgetting to take medications. Things that put safety at risk. And sadly, as the condition progresses, even cherished memories, like a child's name or a wedding anniversary, may begin to fade. 8. Disorientation in time and space. But forgetfulness isn't the only disorienting sign. Sometimes it's not what you forget, but where you forget it. You wake up and for a moment, you don't know if it's morning or night. You look outside and can't remember what day it is. Or even what season. At first, you laugh it off, but then it happens more often. You get confused in familiar places. You take a wrong turn on the way home. Or worse, you forget why you even left the house. Disorientation in time and space is one of the most classic yet deeply unsettling signs of dementia. According to a 2021 review in The Lancet, over 60% of dementia patients experience temporal and spatial disorientation within the first few years of symptoms. This means forgetting dates, losing track of time, or feeling unsure of where they are, even in well-known environments like their neighborhood or kitchen. Some may refer to past decades as if they're living in them right now, talking about people long gone as if they just saw them yesterday. Others may dress inappropriately for the weather, or become fearful in places that once felt safe. It's not stubbornness, it's the brain losing its internal GPS. And when someone starts getting lost in places they've known for years, the danger becomes real. 9. Repetitive questioning. But for some, even when they don't get lost, they still keep asking the same question over and over. You just answered it, you even said it slowly and kindly. But 2 minutes later, they ask the same thing again. Then again, and again. It can be confusing, frustrating, even heartbreaking. But to someone in the early stages of dementia, the answer never actually landed. This kind of repetitive questioning isn't attention-seeking or forgetfulness. It's a breakdown in the brain's ability to encode short-term memory. According to the Journal of Geriatric Psychiatry and Neurology, repetition is one of the most frequent behavioral signs of early dementia, and often one of the first noticed by family. The brain simply doesn't record the answer, so the question feels brand new each time. Common repeats include, "What time is it? When are we leaving? Is it Monday today?" No matter how many times you respond, they're stuck in a loop they can't escape. This can cause distress, not just for caregivers, but for the person asking, who may sense something's wrong but can't explain it. Sometimes they write notes, other times, they ask strangers. But when memory becomes this fragile, it's more than a phase. 10. Hallucinations and loss of bodily function control. And for some, those repeated questions can give way to something even more concerning. Seeing or sensing things that aren't really there. Imagine hearing footsteps in the hallway when no one is home, or smelling smoke when the room is quiet and calm. You look around, confused. You ask someone else, "Can you hear that?" But they don't. That's when it gets scary. In the later stages of dementia, especially Lewy body dementia and advanced Alzheimer's, hallucinations become more common, both visual and auditory. A 2022 study published in Alzheimer's and Dementia found that nearly 30% of patients reported hallucinations within 5 years of diagnosis. These experiences can range from mild to terrifying. Seeing people who aren't there or hearing voices no one else can. Even more private, but just as serious, is losing control of bodily functions. Incontinence isn't just a physical issue. It often reflects deeper neurological damage. The brain can no longer recognize the urge to go or forgets where the bathroom is entirely. This can cause embarrassment, anxiety, and emotional withdrawal. In fact, many families report incontinence as the tipping point, the moment they realize home care may no longer be safe or sustainable. And while it's difficult to talk about, recognizing this symptom early can help prevent accidents, maintain dignity, and get help before the decline accelerates. But even with these challenging signs, there is still hope, because what you do next, right now, can make all the difference. I know, this all sounds like a lot. It's heavy, it's personal, but here's the truth. While dementia can't be cured yet, you still have the power to slow it down. And not just by a little. Studies show that with the right habits, you can protect your brain, your memory, and your independence for much longer than most people think possible. Move more. Just 30 minutes of walking a day. Nothing fancy. Can improve blood flow to your brain and reduce inflammation. Feed your brain like it matters. Because it does. Diets like the Mediterranean or Mind diet, rich in leafy greens, healthy fats, berries, and fish, have been proven to delay cognitive decline. Sleep deeply and consistently. This is when your brain clears out the toxins that damage neurons. Make time to learn something new. A puzzle, a second language, even playing music. Anything that forces your brain to adapt creates new neural pathways that keep it young. Don't ignore your chronic conditions. High blood pressure, diabetes, obesity, sleep apnea. Each one adds more weight on your brain than most people realize. Managing these well isn't just good for your body. It could be the difference between clarity and confusion in the years ahead. And maybe most importantly, don't go it alone. Stay social. Talk to people. Let your loved ones in. Isolation is one of dementia's most powerful allies. But connection? That's your secret weapon. You see, lifestyle isn't just a defense. It's your first line of attack. New hope from science. But beyond lifestyle, there's something else quietly revolutionizing how we understand and treat dementia. And it's coming sooner than you might think. For years, we were told there was nothing that could be done. That dementia was just a slow fade into the dark. But not anymore. Science is turning the tide. And for the first time, real hope is on the horizon. 2 new drugs, lecanemab and donanemab, have shown remarkable results in clinical trials. They don't just mask symptoms. These medications are designed to target and remove amyloid plaques, the sticky proteins in the brain that are closely tied to Alzheimer's progression. In a 2023 trial published in the New England Journal of Medicine, patients who received lecanemab experienced slower cognitive decline by up to 27% compared to those on placebo. It's not a cure, but it's a powerful step forward. And it's not just about pills. Researchers are exploring gene therapy, deep brain stimulation, and even immune-based treatments that aim to reverse brain inflammation and promote neural repair. We're entering a new chapter, one where the conversation shifts from managing decline to preserving possibility. Of course, these treatments work best when dementia is caught early. That's why recognizing the signs, like the ones we've explored today, isn't just helpful, it's life-changing. So if you've made it this far, thank you. Truly, you're already doing something most people don't. You're staying informed, alert, and ready to act. That matters more than you know. The best time to protect your brain was yesterday. The second best time is right now.